Who's the president nobody expected? Who dropped the bomb, beat the odds, and held the world together when it was ready to split in half? This is Harry Truman in the election of 1948, and it changed everything. I'm going to go through each line of the Billy Joel song, We Didn't Start the Fire, and I'll be giving a talk on each of the topics within the song. So we're starting right off from the beginning with Harry Truman. Harry S. Truman wasn't even supposed to be the president. When Franklin Roosevelt died suddenly on April 12th of 1945, Truman, who had been vice president for just 82 days, was thrust into the most powerful job in the world. He had barely met with FDR during his time in office. He wasn't even told about the atomic bomb project until after he became president. Just think about that, you know. One day you're attending Senate meetings and cutting ribbons, and the next day you're making decisions about ending World War II, managing Stalin, considering whether to use nuclear weapons for the first time in history. And yet, Truman stepped up. He authorized the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. He accepted Japan's surrender. And he helped found the United Nations, all within months of taking office. And by the time 1948 rolled around, Harry Truman's approval ratings were, well, bad. The Democrats were falling apart. The party had splintered in three different ways. You had Southern segregationists forming the Dixiecrat Party, nominating Strom Thurmond. The progressives on the left broke away. They nominated Henry Wallace. And then the main Democratic Party stuck with Truman, but they didn't love it. Republicans, meanwhile, they were confident. Their candidate was Thomas Dewey, and he was polished and popular and basically considered a lock to win. Even the Chicago Tribune famously printed their early edition with its headline, Dewey Defeats Truman. This was even before the election results were in. Polls showed Truman losing badly. Pundits dismissed him. He was just seen as too plain, too unpopular, too outmatched. But then something incredible happened. Truman didn't fold. Instead, he boarded a train and launched a whistle-stop tour across the country, giving over 300 speeches in just a few months, oftentimes multiple times a day. He spoke directly to Americans from the back of a train car. He criticized the do-nothing Congress. He defended the New Deal legacy. He stood by civil rights, even when it cost him votes in the South. People listened. Crowds grew. His message landed. And Truman, who everyone thought was finished, started gaining ground. When the results came in on November 2nd of 1948, Harry Truman had pulled off what is still considered the greatest upset in U.S. presidential election history. He won 303 electoral votes to Dewey's 189. The newspaper headlines were wrong. The experts were wrong. And Truman was right. On January 20th of 1949, Truman was inaugurated for his first full term as fully elected president. And he was now more than just a man who stepped in after FDR. He had proven he could win on his own terms. His inaugural address laid out bold goals, supporting NATO, resisting Soviet expansion, launching the Marshall Plan to rebuild Europe, and pushing for civil rights reforms at home. He also called for what he called the Fair Deal, a set of domestic policies aimed at improving education, health care, and labor rights. And let's not forget, he was the first president to desegregate the U.S. military by executive order. Truman's presidency helped set the stage for the Cold War, the Civil Rights Movement, and the modern American political landscape. And that's not bad for a guy who never wanted to be vice president. Why does it matter? Harry Truman's surprise win in 1948 was more than a political upset. It was a moment that showed how direct communication, determination, and a clear message can turn the tide of history. And it also reminds us that the presidency isn't just about charisma, it's about character. Truman didn't always make popular decisions, but he made the tough ones. And from ending World War II to containing communism, from desegregating the military to defying the odds, Truman didn't start the fire, but he kept the country from burning down. So, next up for We Didn't Start the Fire, Doris Day. Follow to keep going line by line through the lyrics and the history they reveal. And remember that Harry Truman's 1948 election is one of those things that you should know by being alive. Thank you for watching.